that's kind of the beauty of Bitcoin is that it's apolitical. It doesn't matter whether you're left or right, socialist, uh, capitalist. It kind of transcends the realm of politics, and that really resonates with me because I've always um, been turned off by politics and always saw how each side is just kind of a different side of the same coin, and
Mm,
it's kind of a tool to create divisiveness between amongst the people, and um, that's what draws a lot of people to Bitcoin is that you don't have to get wrapped up in politics, and uh, this Bitcoin ethos and philosophy kind of fixes the problem with the polarized political parties. And um, so I've never really had strong political opinions, but with Bitcoin, it kind of opened my eyes to seeing how much the government does exert control over our lives and how that's not a good thing. And you see it in money. They're exerting control over our lives with money, which is huge because when they control money, that's controlling your life force, like you said. And for people that don't understand Bitcoin, I think this example is a great example that can sometimes open people's eyes. Is say you work 50 years, you put 50 years in of solid work, and just in the last 5 years, the government has expanded the money supply by 50%. So that means that if you worked 50 years and put all your life force into that, the government prints 50% of the money supply over a 5 year period. That decreases your purchasing power by essentially it wipes off 20 of the years that you worked. So it's essentially like you worked 30 years. So if you look at it like that is just not right. They stole all that life force. 20 years of your blood, sweat, and tears is just erased. And in such a surreptitious way because you have the same amount, so you don't realize that you lost 40% of your life force. But that's essentially what it is, and that's why we say it's theft.
yeah,
And so, yeah, the government has control of your money, which is essentially your life force. And then, and then from what I've seen in healthcare, the government has control over your health. They put
yeah,
out these guidelines that don't serve you. The guidelines, like for instance, the food pyramid, you assume the government has your best interest. And if you follow the food pyramid, you're going to have optimal health. But it turns out the food pyramid is not about your health. It's about what lobbyists were able to lobby in and put in to the food pyramid to convince you that it's healthy when really they just wanted to sell more wheat and more grains. And so that's not right for the government to control your health because your health is also a part of your life force. So if the government is exerting control of your life force, which is your soul, which is spiritual, that's where I start to realize how wrong it is
yeah,
because we're spiritual beings, and for our life force to be negatively impacted by government policies that actually do not have our best interest, that is something that we need to we need to be aware of. And
yeah,
because awareness is the first step. Once you're aware, then you could navigate away from these things and start taking control. And yeah, so money, health, and then it gets even deeper too if you think about your thoughts. Like a lot of times we don't realize where our thoughts come from, but most of our thoughts are programmed into us from society and now with social media
yeah,
and with with the government control over these tech companies and controlling what how the algorithm works. They can program our thoughts,
yeah,
uh, and we should be able to have our own thoughts, and we when we don't even realize that our thoughts are being controlled, that it gets dangerous because then they can influence our behavior and influence the direction of society. So if we really want to take back control, it starts with our thoughts, and the first step is being aware that our thoughts are so controlled and manipulated by outside forces.